We'll now begin with their questions. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond. Our first question deals with community college education focused on economic development and workforce development. Our first question will go to Tommy Sowers. In the coming years, jobs requiring at least an associate degree are projected to grow twice as fast as jobs requiring no college experience. Without the training offered by community colleges, the country will not fill those jobs, nor will we keep those jobs in America. Community colleges have become the largest and fastest growing sector of higher education in America, enrolling more than 6 million students. Yet there hasn't been adequate funding for new facilities, deferred maintenance, and faculty and staff to support the unprecedented growth of community colleges. As the next U.S. representative from District 8, what measures would you introduce and or support to assure that Three Rivers Community College is adequately funded to meet the demands of being the area's primary economic and workforce development engine?
Thank you. I would like to start off and just thank Three Rivers for hosting us here this evening, the Poplar Bluff community as well, and for everyone who's tuning in and here tonight. And I would like to also thank my fellow panelists and Congresswoman Emerson for your 14 years of service in D.C. The community college system is absolutely vital for rural education. And I know this because I was born and raised here and educated in the Rolla Public School system, Harry S. Truman Elementary all the way through high school. And a number of my high school graduating class chose to attend community colleges. It's not just that this is a valuable venue, not only as a stepping stone from a bachelor's or from an associate's to a bachelor's, but also for the vital training skills that we need in the 21st century. I had dinner with Dr. Payne. Dr. Payne told me of the 3,700 students that are educated here. And one area in particular that is absolutely vital is the nurse education and medical field. In 2020, it appears that we will have a 400,000 person shortage on nurses. And unless we fully support not just the faculty, the incentives for loan repayment for people to come here, but also the infrastructure, rural America will suffer for a shortage of nurses. But when we're
now the microphone will be automatically shut off at the conclusion of the 90 seconds. Sorry, I don't have the controller. Up next, Joanne Emerson. Can you see the light?
The lights will only come on when it's time to get complete.
White light for 15 seconds remaining. Okay. Red light will be the conclusion.
Thank you for the explanation, Chris. I appreciate it. Thank you all so much for having us here at Three Rivers tonight. And I have to say that I am incredibly proud of the job that TRCC has done, not only in expanding educational opportunities for both traditional and non-traditional students in our region, but also for really being on the cutting edge of education. With the nursing program that we've tried to help with and advocated for, I think that you are obviously set for the future jobs that we will be having here in the district, particularly as the healthcare law comes into play. I also want to say that one thing about community colleges that you don't get with a four-year university is flexibility and the ability to change courses or to add courses to innovate much more than you can at a different type of university. And I have to say that Devin Stevenson has done a tremendous job in really looking for cutting-edge technologies to use here at the college. And I feel very, very good about its future, certainly with a large number of students and the larger number of students because community colleges, quite frankly, are overpopulated these days, but at least we're going to have the old hospital here to expand the operations, and I'm very excited about that.
Mr. Van Deven.
I believe that community colleges like Three Rivers are providing a great service to students that don't necessarily need a four-year degree or have chosen a career that doesn't require a four-year degree. Community colleges also provide competition with four-year universities, and competition is always good for the consumer. I recently heard that President Obama announced a program called Success for America, and it's a joint venture between private and public facilities such as Three Rivers, where corporations are providing training in community colleges. And I'm a little concerned about that. I don't know if this is going to end up being some kind of quasi-taxpayer funded training program for McDonald's. But I think there's some low-lying fruit that we can pick on federal funding in adult education. There's $5 billion a year that is currently dedicated to adult education, and I believe that community colleges like Three Rivers are already providing that service.
Mr. Larry Bill.
Larry Bill, I'd like to thank the college for hosting this event as well. The community college really provides a good resource for the local people, not only the younger people, but also the older people who are losing their jobs and have a chance at that time to upgrade their skills, so I thank them very much for that. The question was about degraded infrastructure, and that's all tied to state revenue. The problem we have in the state of Missouri is we're not collecting the sales tax that we used to, and that's caused us to start these cutbacks. The reason we don't get the sales tax is because our economy is down. And I believe one of the main reasons that our economy is down is because of the interference from the federal government. The government prevents with its we have no idea what they're going to be what's coming out of Washington next. We're threatened now with the health care bill. We're threatened with cap and trade. We're threatened with new regulations, OSHA regulations, EPA regulations. These are things that are constraining us, and they're coming straight out of Washington, D.C. I've been in business for 17 years, and I'm fully aware of how that happens. And that's what I want to work for whenever I go to Congress. I want to make it easier to hire people so they'll spend money, so they'll pay sales tax, so they'll pay real estate tax, and that will give us the money to upgrade our facilities. Thank you.
Our next question deals in the area of general education. Education and entitlement programs comprise a huge majority of the federal budget. With federal revenue shrinking, do you believe we can continue the current level of entitlement spending and maintain the levels of education needed to grow the economy? Our first respondent will be Joanne Emerson.
Thank you for that question. You know, right now the federal education budget, y'all, is $42 billion a year. And that is money that I believe we should keep here at home. After watching the Department of Education work over the last many years, you know, and I'm a product of public schools. My kids went to public schools, and I fully believe that our public school education is best run locally. You know, I will willingly admit that I even voted for No Child Left Behind, and I will say that that was poorly implemented. It was never properly funded. The fact is, a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach does not work for education. Rural education is different than education in the metro areas, and unfortunately, really, out of that $42 billion that we spend at the federal level, that's only 7% of the money that is spent in the school systems nationwide. But yet there are too many mandates from Washington, and I really am now of the opinion that everything should be left at the local or the state level. With regard to entitlement spending, Medicare could easily, you could shave a lot of money from Medicare if, in fact, you negotiated for prescription drugs like the Veterans Administration. You made other... Oh, being real good about that.
Our next question, our next respondent, Mr. Rick Van Dieven.
Well, I believe that entitlement spending can be drastically cut, especially in the areas of Social Security. I really don't have any interest in extending this program. I would like to see a gradual phase out. The system, the Social Security program was not instituted to provide a safety net for retirees. It was a way for the federal government to get money. Unfortunately, people keep living longer, and this has resulted in a serious deficit to Social Security. The way I would like to approach the Social Security issue is funding our current liabilities by cutting in other areas, especially the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. I would like to see my generation to be able to set aside half of our Social Security taxes and put them into individual retirement accounts. I would like to see my daughter's generation not be burdened with Social Security. As far as federal funding of public schools, I think that I agree with Representative Emerson that the community is the best place to be making the decisions that affect our children. And I would very much love to see the federal government out of the education business altogether. Thank you.
Tommy Sowers.
As a teacher myself, and having stood in front of a classroom of students, I understand the importance of resources. And unfortunately, with No Child Left Behind, what we had was a dramatic centralized federal takeover of education that was not funded, that did not take into account everything I've heard from the teachers as I've been out on the campaign trail. The increased number of special needs students, the increased distance of busing, the lack of opportunities for after-school opportunities, and frankly, for an agricultural debate, the lack of support for things like the FFA. With me, you're going to get somebody that knows that I need to go to DC and keep listening to teachers, not to lobbyists. And then when we look at entitlements, on Monday night, Congresswoman Emerson said that she wants to support a leadership in the House that wants to privatize Social Security and put Medicare on vouchers. Me, I think that these are obligations that people have paid into, and they need to be protected. The way we do that is two ways. My mission is to bring jobs back to the 8th Congressional District. We get more people working here, more people paying into Social Security and Medicare, then we can make these issues solvent. And that's something I intend to lead on in Congress. Thank you.
Mr. Larry Bill.
Could I hear the question again, please?
Education and entitlement programs comprise a huge majority of the federal budget. With federal revenue shrinking, do you believe we can continue the current level of entitlement spending and maintain the levels of education needed to grow the economy?
Yes, I think we can, but we're going to have to change our game plan in Washington, D.C. It would be my intention that we would completely eliminate the Department of Education, because I think we send in about $100 billion worth of tax dollars. Only $85 billion come back, and by the time it goes through the other bureaucracies, there's not much left for education. So eliminating that to start with would be one step in the right direction, and we wouldn't have to borrow from the Social Security Fund to fund that. As far as Social Security is concerned, that's one entitlement. I think we need to make two corrections. One is we need to raise the standards to qualify for Social Security disability. We need to make it harder so that we don't drain the system. The other half is that those that are 50 and younger, they can be expected to live to be 85 years or older. So we're going to have to raise their Social Security full entitlement ages from 65 to 67 to 69 to 70, whatever we can figure out. I'm the person that if I go to Washington, I'm going to bring up the hard solutions. I'm the one that's going to challenge people that think that are looking to get something from Washington and ask them that they may have to sacrifice other than what they anticipated. Thank you.